the Nigerian Customs Service who lost their seniority to their juniors as a result of the unjust and fair decision of the Nigerian Customs Service Board. I seek to lay the petition before the Senate.
Proceed. So the petition is referred to public petitions, ethics, and privileges. Yes.
Mr. President, my dear distinguished colleague, I am Suleiman Abdurrahman Kawu Sumaila, OFR, representing Kano South Senatorial District, NNPP from Kano, Mr. Speaker. Mr. President, very sorry, sir. Mr. President, I am coming under Order 41, matter of urgent public importance. May I read it? Order 41-1. The matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied with the matter is definite and urgent. Then Order 51 again. Notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or any other proceeding for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the Senator's President. Well, present. My order is coming in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which define main purpose of government in accordance with Chapter 2 Fundamental.
So you haven't complied with the rules. You just read Rule 51. But you also use 51. 51 says notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceedings for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. We have to ask for consent of the senators. Okay, so you may take your seat. Distinguished Senator Ismail Akawu mentioned that he had a motion of urgent importance. So as we are now, is it the consent of the Senate that he be allowed to take the motion? Those who are in support say aye. Those who are against say nay. Well, the ayes have it. So you will, yes.
Give me the book. Order 51. The same order 51, sir. He has to discuss the subject matter. We don't know the subject matter. He has to discuss the subject matter.
Yeah, point of order noted. The distinguished Chief Whip.
Thank you. SP and distinguished colleagues. We are just starting the session, and as we go, we should be taking note of the small mistakes that we can make, and we should correct them. The issue of saying that you have ruled, if the ruling is wrong, even the Supreme Court, when it passes judgment,
Distinguished Chief Whip, Distinguished Chief Whip, your observation is noted. Senator Kawu, go ahead and move your motion.
Thank you, distinguished sir. Sir, my motion is in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. Chapter 2, Fundamental Objective and Directive Principle of State Policy, Section 14, subsection 2B, which stated that security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Sir,
Senator Kawu, point of order by the DSP.
Mr. President, Barrow Jibrin Kano North. Mr. President, my point of order is just to guide the Senate. It's not respect with his motion, so that we don't continue to repeat this mistake again and again. It's order 63. With your permission, I read. The President of the Senate, in the Senate, and the chairman in any committee shall be responsible for the observance of the rules of order in the Senate and committee respectively, and their decision upon any point of order shall not be open to appeal, shall not be open to appeal, shall not be open to appeal, and shall not be reviewed by the Senate except upon a substantive motion after notice. So once you have ruled, nobody can bring up that matter again until a notice is given and a substantive motion is tabled. So once you rule, you have ruled. Except you want to go against this.
The Senate, Deputy Senate President, your point of order is sustained. Senator Kawu, the chair had ruled. Go ahead with your motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the motion is urgent need to reopen Niger border to open up economic activities in both countries, as the closure of the border had a devastating impact of business in the area. This is the motion. Can I continue? Okay. So, note that the recent closure of Niger border put at risk trade worth than $1.3 billion along the trans-Saharan trade route connecting 6 African countries, namely Chad, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, and Tunisia, following a military coup that ousted Mohamed Bazoum and sacked the democratically elected government. There is no gain saying that Nigeria and Niger have been linked in trans-Saharan trade going back history. Aware that the border closure decision on 8 August 2023 has taken by the Economic Community of West African States as part of the measures put in place to frustrate the military junta. In addition, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the chairman of ECOWAS, also advocated for a military intervention to push out the military junta out of the country and to restore democratic government. The coup in Niger Republic in 26 July 2023 has been condemned by the entire world and have unfairly backed the ECOWAS military action and the other economic section to bring down the government of President Muhammad Abdurrahman Sani. Further aware that Nigeria and Niger Republic belong to the African Continental Free Trade Area. The agreement is meant to establish a single market for goods and services across 54 African Union countries and to allow for free movement of business, travelers, and investment. It also meant to create a continental custom union to streamline trade and attract long-term investment in the country. What is that? The two countries at the time signed agreement on border frequently condition to allow free movement of goods and services within them. Third, presently the situation and the economic activities has deteriorated since the border closure. The international market in border towns market at Ilela Market, Sokoto State, Kamba in Kebbi State, Shinkafi in Zamfara State, Jibia Katsina and Mai Adwa Daura in Katsina State, Mai Gatari and Bakura in Jigawa State, and all border towns in Yobe and Borno State. Moreover, international markets in Kano such as Kwari Market, Dawano Grand International Market, Sabongari Market, Singa Market, and etc. Further orders that the policy of border closure is to force military junta to back down and restore democracy within a shorter period of time. But instead, Nigerian citizens are suffering, which causes unemployment, rise of insecurity and domestic crime in 7 neighboring states, and Kano being the commercial center of northern Nigeria, which is against Nigerian constitution, more particularly chapter 2, fundamental objective and directive principle of state policy, section 14 subsection 2b, which stated that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Further worried that citizens of countries are experiencing untold hardship as a result of sanctions imposed on Niger Republic by ECOWAS. Economic activity.
Come, the journalists. Don't interrupt senators when they are speaking. If you want to do any interview with any senator, please let it be after the sitting. Do you understand? Clerk, you've noted this action. Don't come in when senators are speaking to interview any senator. If any senator has anything to say, you go to the press gallery. Don't do that interview again. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Further is that both countries are experiencing untold hardships as a result of sanctions imposed on Niger Republic by ECOWAS. Economic activities in border towns with the international market as a major source of trade and commerce have witnessed a sharp decline. Many businesses are struggling to survive, while some have even collapsed. It is not easy to see that the food chain supply has broken down, with trucks from both countries for the conveyance of foodstuff are not allowed to load their cargo to their destination. Cognizant that the border closure is not in the interest of both countries. Third, more eminent in Niger Republic, where there are pocket insecurity, security threat, terrorism, insurgency, while the Nigerian side, as I stated earlier, our traders are witnessing low patronage in their business. Third, pleading that the border closure be lifted with immediate effect. Acknowledge that Nigeria and Niger Republic have so many things in common: cultural, intermarriage, language affiliation, just to mention a few. Recently, the last administration extended a 284-kilometer rail line network from Kano to Maradi, which is associated to boost the trade and other socio-economic interaction, convey goods and services between the two countries. The rail line is expected to be completed by 2025. Resolves that the Senate urged the federal government to consider the reopening of the border between Nigeria and Niger to allow for free movement of trade and businesses in the two countries, as commercial activities have drastically gone down in these areas. Also urge the federal government to play a big brother role in West Africa by championing a well-articulated plan involving dialogue and diplomacy with a view to restoring democracy in Niger Republic. This new plan will protect refugees, migrants, and the internally displaced people in the two countries. Mandate the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs and Cooperation and Integration in Africa to interface with all relevant stakeholders who have grossly affected economically as a result of the border closure and recommended how to their rules in pursuant of a section of the Constitution as
Senator Ningi.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Abdul Ning, and I represent Bauchi Central of Bauchi State. Mr. President, let me move to second the motion heavily canvassed by Senator Kawu Sumaila. At the same time, permit me to also say one or two things about this very important motion. Mr. President, this is a motion that should be devoid of any partisan politics or any regional divide. It is important for my colleagues to recall during the Buhari era, the entire northern borders were actually closed, ostensibly for economic benefit. Having gone through 6 years of the closure of border, what befalls all of us is the tragic economic downturn of Nigeria and Niger as a matter of fact. So this is save our soul matter. But the river found that when you visit those states bordering Niger community, you see the effect of this border closure. You see the effect, the economic devastation. And that is coupled with the fact that those same communities, those same states are also invaded by a kind of civil unrest in terms of criminality by the bandits. So it is a double tragedy that the upper part of northern Nigeria is being affected. And when you look at Kano, as the most vital economic nerve center of northern Nigeria, you could see the effect. And when you take Kano as an example, it does trade almost with 36 states of Nigeria. And therefore, the devastation goes round, particularly from my state. The neighboring state of Bauchi, Jigawa, Kaduna, the price of items have quadrupled. And consequently, because of the foreign exchange and the issue of the value of the naira, this has added terrible effect to an average Nigerian, particularly from the northern part of this country. So this issue of border opening is simply to call the attention of government to the effect. And looking at the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which says the sole purpose for government is protection of lives and property. The protection of lives and property has a question mark. So it is important to now create. We want to survive. We want to see tomorrow. We want to see to the enthronement of good governance. And we want to make sure our tomorrow is better than our today. But what is happening right now, there is helplessness, hopelessness of the entire economic prosperity of the northerners, and in fact, generally of our Nigerians. So the issue is not about northern Nigeria, the issue is about all of Nigeria. The issue is about all citizens, because one way or another, we are intertwined, we are intermingled, we are one people with common destiny. So, Mr. President, this is a worthwhile motion. It doesn't need elaborate debate, and I call on the President and Commander-in-Chief of Nigeria, Senator Bola Tinubu, to look at this matter from a human perspective, with a human pace, in making sure that suffering is ameliorated. People are given hope. Therefore, it is important that we see this motion as it is. It is not something divisive. Call on the president to look at this thing as a human face. We have known him, we have known his character, we have known how good he is. And therefore, we canvass that he sees this motion as to save the soul of Nigerians. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Distinguished Senator Kawu, beautiful as the motion may seem, it has a lot of security implications. And don't forget that the Senate had earlier moved resolve to back the Economic Community of West African States, the governments and all that, on any decision taken in respect of the Niger crisis. So I want to appeal to you to step down further discussion on this until we can obtain security situation report and consult more with your security services in respect of what is happening on the border. We shouldn't depend only on the social media hype. So that's my appeal. So let me give you the opportunity to step it down until we can have more informed decision from our security services.
Mr. President.
Point of order. Point of order.
This motion. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleague, Adeola Solomon Olamilekon, representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I come under Order 43, personal explanation. He said, with the kind permission of Mr. President, I will go ahead and read.
Is it in respect of the motion I have requested you should step down? No, let's finish with this then. Having consulted my brother, Senator Kawu, and with his concurrence, the motion, as beautiful as it is on the reopening of the border, is hereby stepped down to enable us to consult more with the security services before we look into it. Yes, point of order, Senator Solomon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleague. By the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there might be no question before the Senate. No controversial matter may be brought forward, nor any debate arise upon the explanation. The terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted in details to the President of the Senate when his leave to make it itself. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I come under this order because on the 14th day of October 2023, my senatorial district played a host to more than half of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, including the President of the Senate. And Mr. President, distinguished colleague, this is unprecedented. Ogun State has been of delegation of the Senate in that state, nor my senatorial district. I want to use this opportunity on behalf of the entire people of Ogun West Senatorial District, because that festival covers all the local governments that I'm representing in the Senate that made up the Ogun West Senatorial District, to thank this distinguished Senate, starting with the President of the Senate, who have to cancel a very important engagement on the 14th on the same day to attend this Yewa Cultural Festival. And also, by extension, all distinguished senators who, despite their various commitments, have to set it aside to join me in celebrating my people on the 14th day of October 2023. I want to say that we sincerely appreciate all of you from the bottom of our hearts, the paramount ruler and the #1 king of the land send his appreciation and daughters of Yewa land, thank all senators, the Senate President, for at least, despite the challenges that one way or the other confronted you while traveling, especially the roads, you still make your way to find your way to Yewa land and also travel back to your respective destination. We want to thank you. And this is part of the solidarity which these 10 senates stand for. In Yoruba, we say, Amarun Reribara.
The civil senator Solomon Adiola Olame Lekong Yayi, thank you for thanking the Senate. We also appreciate you for being a very good host, and we thank your people for receiving us so well. As the Arefuaboye of Yewa land. So thank you, and I'm also most patient. And you have over senators in one location. They went through a lot to get there. And we also noted the environmental challenges that you're inviting us. Thank you. Yes.
And distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator 54, the Chief Whip, the Senate, on the way we do things. Mr. President, this is the Senate. This is the Senate. And we should not shy away from learning.
Sorry, the clerk, can I have that order 54? As we are coming under order 54, this is what is written there. So I'm sorry, Leader, we rule you out of order. Yes. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate goes into a closed session to enable us deal with some very crucial matters.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Senate Leader. I so seconds.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do resolve into a closed session to enable us to discuss matters of urgent national importance. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. Security, the press may leave us. Thank you.